Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. How are you? Oh, wow. It has been an amazing week. How are you doing today? You know how we do. As you come into the room, say hello. Um, Share the broadcast amongst your network because, as you know, we do not grow alone over here. Oh, wow. Yesterday was just one of those days. But today I have a brief message for you. I can't even spell today. That goes to show you how the day is going. But anyway, I have a short message I want to share with you. I just wanted to remind everyone, well, if you're here, you already know that Chatter is now streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube and to my Facebook private group and to my Facebook company pages. So follow me there and you can continue chatter. I just took it off of my I took it off of my um personal pages. So I've had an amazing week. There's been a whole lot of ups, a whole lot of downs, lessons from amazing friends. I'm telling you, if you're going to do business with people who are growing with, and when I say growing, people assume everybody in business is growing, and that isn't true. There are people in business who are content to stay where they are. Um, and that's not good. You have to be in business and surround yourself with business people. Excuse me, I was distracted by a message. Um, Sorry, I was distracted by a message from a client. Be surrounded by people who are intent on growing and people who are intent on watching you grow. And that is key. One thing I have learned over the years is everybody around you isn't excited to see you grow. They really aren't. And everybody around you isn't growing. So I want you to get that in your mind. So when you're surrounding yourself with people, watch indicators. Watch to see, are they growing, how they're growing, and if they're growing. And then move accordingly. I'm not a big fan of cut off culture, but I will say that you need to check who has front row seats in your life. And I'm borrowing that phrase from somebody. And it is a true assessment. But another point I want to make you this morning, we're at the halfway point of the year. When was the last time you performed an assessment of your business and yourself? When was the last time you checked who was on your team and how well they were performing? And that included yourself. When was the last time you said, I am doing this job and I am doing this job at this level? When was the last time you performed an assessment of the consultants, the coaches, the vendors, whomever, and assess the results they were getting for you? And and hear me out. All results is a monetary results. I follow a mindset coach, and she said something the other day that wasn't earth shattering to me, but it was earth shattering to people in the audience. She was asked the question, how do you choose a coach? And the first thing she said about, well, it wasn't the first thing, but one of the things she said was, choose a coach who makes you uncomfortable. And then she said, now you obviously doesn't choose someone who gives you the heebie jeebies. And I love that she used that phrase. But she said, pick somebody who's going to pull you out of your comfort zone. So my question to you is, are you working with somebody who keeps you in your comfort zone? Or are you working with somebody who is constantly in pushing you? Because you don't need somebody to hold your hand. Your coach isn't supposed to be holding your hand. That's what your friends are for. Are you working with somebody who is constantly pushing your barriers? Somebody who sees the potential and the best in you and is pushing you to strive to go beyond. That's the type of person you need to be working with. And if you're not, that's one of the reasons why you're not achieving your next level. Far too often, we're listening to messaging from people who are telling us what we want to hear instead of what we need to hear. They're feeding our insecurities instead of feeding the growth factor that lies within us. A friend of mine and I were having this conversation around pricing. And when it comes to women and people of color, and I'm going there, we have this whole talking point around you have to do incremental growth in pricing. You have to start out low and work your way up. Who said that? I know people who come out of corporate, start their business, and their first client is $200,000. And it used to marvel me. But you know why? Because they know their worth and they come out of corporate, start their business, and they price accordingly. They don't buy into the myth that they have to gain this mythological acceptance before they can charge accordingly. They come out in charge and people pay. A lot of people aren't seeing the momentum in their business because they're not charging according to their clientele. If you're trying to work with corporate doesn't buy $97. Very rarely. If I'm trying to, my favorite or ideal client is IBM. Let me tell you, IBM is not buying at $97. If you're looking for clients who are easier to work with clients are not buying at $97. If you're trying to convert a room at 25%. You want a 25% conversion rate. I'm here to tell you the coaches that are converting at that rate, look at their ticket prices. They're not $97. Now, there are some coaches out here that are charging $97, but look at their business models and really deconstruct it and analyze it. There are those of us who are hungry who will pay $97 to get in the room, but we're also ready to pay $2,000. We're also ready to pay $5,000. Then there are those who will never pay more than freemium. So when was the last time you performed an assessment of your business? We're in June. We're in the halfway point of the year. And excuse me, I said this earlier this week. Have you performed an assessment? Have you run your P&L for the half year? And for those of you who believe you do profit P&L for a year, no, you should have monthly P&L statements. Now, some people will argue you should do it weekly. I think no. Monthly, yes. I think weekly is a little excessive on a company level. As you grow, your projects may be on a weekly level. However, that's not a P&L, that's a revenue statement. That's a whole nother conversation. Those are not P&Ls you're running weekly. When was the last time you looked at your bank statement and you ran your bank statement for signs of erroneous charges? I was on the phone with my bank yesterday because I was updating some information. And I realized that I don't remember my PIN. Shh. But while I was on the phone, I double checked some things. And I actually need to go down to the branch. But when was the last time, as the CEO of your business, the chief executive officer of your business, you took care of those things? Those are not one and dones. And that is actually how you avoid fraud. Keeping your eye on the prize. A lot of people, I didn't realize, because we get so bogged down in minutia and on things that I'm not going to say they don't matter, but they, in essence, aren't the end all and be all. Excuse me. And we lose track of the things that are the crux of the business. We lose sight on professional development. We lose sight on crafting that budget. We lose sight on creating that yearly strategic plan. We lose sight we lose sight. We're so busy hustling until we forget to do the work. And oftentimes we forget to learn the industry that we're working in. I was talking to a friend of mine last night. She's a speaker at my event that I'm having in October. That event has merged. The Contractors Intensive is now in 2024. The event in October is a Consultants to Contractor. How consultants become government contractors. That's what I'm doing in October. That event is a 1.5-day event. The full-blown announcement coming Monday. Join my mailing list if you want to stay on top of all details of everything that's coming out LT&A. Join my Facebook group. They get access to things first. Typically, this was something I finalized last night, which is why everybody's getting the news this morning. However, she and I were talking about a lot of people don't realize your leadership, your mindset, all of that factors in, which is where this topic is coming from. When was the last time you performed a deep dive assessment? And even then, when we were talking about the event, there were some things she poured into me. I was like, you know what? Let me flip to the front. Let me flip my stance in my own event. And I'm grateful that I have a network that feels comfortable to say, I hear this and I hear that and I hear that, but this is what's missing. I don't hear this. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. Because I had it written as an aside, but it's going to be the primary focus piece now. So who are you growing with? That's why I say don't grow alone. I know there's people on there that won't move in silence and don't let people know what you're doing until you come out with it. I understand where the thought comes from, but if you think everybody in your circle is jealous of you and sabotaging you, I suggest you get a new circle. If everybody in your life is sabotaging you, you need a new circle. If you have to make every move you make in total obscure silence, then that is more reflection of you and who you associate with than the fact you move in silence. Moving in silence is not a flex. And it's actually exhausting and sad. As my mentor says, you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. Let the experts expert, and that includes you. And you cannot be a proficient and efficient expert if you're trying to be a master of none. And for those who picked up what I just put down, all right. So I'm closing out this morning's edition of Contractors Chatter with this reminder. This is June, the halfway point of the year. There is time to pivot, reposition, and to move on. Do the assessment. Find out where the leaks are. And get the plug-in. Find out where your knowledge gaps are and find a source to plug them. If you found anything in today valuable, you want to deep dive a little more, comment. Ask your questions in the comment section. You can do one word comment, strategy, deeper, more, and I will reply to you. Share this amongst your network because, as I say, you shouldn't want to grow alone. We should want to grow in network and in community. I think this whole isolationist ideology is toxic, and I hate that word. And somehow or another, it was turned into a flex, and quite frankly, it's sad. All it is a sign that you feel as though there is nobody around you. Success leaves clues. And what I see when I look at signs of success is that they all grow in community. There isn't a successful individual who grew by themselves. They put in the work, but there was a team, there was a community. I looked at the CEO of my company when I was in corporate. And you know what? I was looking at his expense report because I was a compliance auditor and their stuff came up for review every so often. It was in my audit sample. And he used to attend this big meeting. He paid a subscription to attend this quarterly event. And I was like, what is this? The CEO of our company used to attend quarterly masterminds where CEOs got together to discuss industry trends and events. Come on, people. They don't grow alone. They don't do it alone. They're competitors and they get together in the room and say, this is what we're seeing. How are you handling it? How are you handling it? Come on. Success leaves clues. And with that, have an amazing weekend. Think about it a little bit as you're taking your walk, walking the dog, walking yourself, in quiet contemplation in your planning session for next week. And I'll see you Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, LinkedIn, for another installment of Contractors Chatter. I'm Luciana Turner, your host. Have an amazing and restful weekend.